Hi and welcome to the Roast Recap, a look back on the week that was. Now, because it's winter, chances are you are going out less and staying in more, and I don't blame you. Nothing like a warm doona, a pair of slippers, and holding a loved one close. Or failing that, holding a room temperature raw chicken. So snuggle up with your partner or whatever poultry you can get your hands on and enjoy a collection of this week's news stories. First up is our warmest life form, Mark Humphries with the headlines.
Victorian Premier Denis Napthine has helped rescue an elderly victim of a car crash. And after MP Jeff Shaw's recent issues regarding his taxpayer-funded car, the Victorian Premier must really be wondering whether Australia needs more roads. But at least one politician is having better luck with cars. I'll have you buried in that car, Xenophon. Napthine, who retired from his career as a veterinarian for a quiet life as a state premier, assisted the woman onto a stretcher, but stopped short of having her neutered. Helping out in a crisis is a good image for Napthine and could lead to more politicians insisting they help in emergency situations. Hey, what's going on here? An arrest? I got this. This is going to be my Napthine moment. Oh, shit! Gobble. Hey, what's going on here? Open heart surgery. I got this. Nurse, get me 50cc stat. Oh, no, I don't mean the corn chips. Get me a body bag.
All right, just drop your pants.
Oh, what's going on here? Prostate exam, eh? I'm going to leave this one to you. Pope Francis has described the world's economic system as madness. The Pope, seen here showing us what madness looks like, has blasted the world's obsession with wealth.
We have placed money in the centre, the god of money. We have fallen into the sin of idolatry, the idolatry of money.
And no one knows more about sin than the Catholic Church. God knows they commit their fair share of it. Pope Francis, of course, is the leader of the world's 1.2 billion Roman Catholics. And hang on, 1.2 billion, where have I heard that figure before?
The Catholic Archdiocese of Sydney controls funds with combined assets of over $1.2 billion that provide the church with multi-million-dollar profits every year.
Ah, yes, that institution with all the money doesn't like the world's obsession with money. In their defence, the Catholic Church needs that money for lawyers, otherwise it would just be wasted on victims of church-related abuse. Madness indeed. Japan has slaughtered 30 minke whales despite a ban on whaling from the International Court of Justice. For f***'s sake, Japan! Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, seen here reenacting his favourite scene from The Breakfast Club, had announced his intentions to resume whaling earlier this month.
I want to aim for the resumption of commercial whaling by conducting whaling research in order to obtain scientific data indispensable for the management of whale resources.
Shinzo Abe there. You might recognise him from the novel Moby Dick. He's the dick. But there must be some good scientific data you can get from harpooning a whale in the head.
Japan claims the whales it kills are used to estimate the population.
That's an interesting way to conduct a population count. Hello, I'm here for the census.
Yes?
How many residents live at the premises?
Just me.
Ah, that's very interesting. Well, thank you. Though, of course, Shinzo Abe could be legitimate about this being a population count, he is very committed to counting. And finally, a technique being pioneered in Britain could see painless fillings replace the dentist drill. I've pioneered my own technique for avoiding the dentist drill. It's called a toothbrush. Brush your teeth, you idiots! For the roast, I'm Mark Humphries.
The week began on Monday, though that's not newsworthy. What was making the news was the government's attempts to remove UN World Heritage protection from Tasmanian forests. A move that, as Jazz Twemlow found out, seemed to have the broad support of precisely no one.
I'm sitting here at the top of a Tasmanian tree. Currently it's protected, and that makes sense because it's been here for 3,000 years. You'd ensure a painting of a tree if it were a tenth as old. Unfortunately, Tony Abbott believes that inside every tree is a table waiting to get out, and that there is too much locked up forest, and so wants to delist this as a World Heritage Site and open it up to loggers.
Shit!
Ah, beautiful. So good to see all those locked-up trees now running free as paper. The move to delist the forest will surely be met by strong opposition by environmentalists. Isn't that right, you whinging greenie?
Oh, absolutely. We want to maintain the current boundaries.
Indeed. However, the government's move ought to prove popular with loggers.
No, we agree with the strange-smelling tree man.
Right, that, OK, wasn't quite the debate I was hoping for. Which means if loggers and environmentalists don't want this, apparently the only person who does want it is this guy.
Because if someone comes to us and said we'd like to build a 40-foot yacht, I couldn't say to them with any guarantee that we could get the timber.
Poor yachtless peasants. We've heard that argument before. Yeah, these elephant conservation laws mean that if someone comes to me and says, I want you to build me an ivory hat stand, I'm not sure I could get the tusks. It's all locked up in those damn elephants. Actually, we haven't heard that argument before. It's ridiculous. But if you're concerned all this deforestation means less forest, worry not, because the coalition intend to put in place a $2.55 billion fund that will prioritise cost-effective, targeted means to reduce emissions, such as afforestation. Now, I'm no whiz at tree maths, but I'm pretty sure deforestation plus afforestation equals why the hell bother? Unless, of course, this sapling can absorb as much carbon as a 100-metre tall giant with 3,000 years experience. Well, good luck, little guy. The environment and 7 billion people are depending on you. For The Roast, I'm Jazz Twemlow. Shit!
And if you thought killing trees was bad, maybe leave the room for a little bit while we talk about ISIS, the terrorist movement critics are calling awful. Here's everything you never wanted to know about them.
Established in 2004 in response to the US-led invasion of Iraq, ISIS, the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, are considered so extreme that ISIS has even been disowned by Al-Qaeda, which in terms of reputation is the terrorist equivalent of getting 100% on urban boom. The leader of ISIS is Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, a man who vowed never to stop looking for the other half of his beard, and who is said to be more anti-American than Osama bin Laden. So he's your new top pick in your fantasy terrorist league. And given bin Laden hated America's religion, freedom, and capitalism, al-Baghdadi must hate all that, plus the way Americans say aluminum, how cold it gets in Belmont, Ohio, and the fact that they remade rake. So how does ISIS finance its operations? Easily, after they robbed a bank in Mosul and made off with $425 million, along with one of those Cheney desk pens. And like celebrities who get free shit, they don't even need to buy weapons because ISIS recently captured American weapons, vehicles, and uniforms. So clearly al-Baghdadi doesn't hate everything American. But what now for the Middle East? ISIS controls large stretches of Iraq and Syria, and now they've got their sights set on all these places. So what is the world planning to do? Obama is sending 275 troops, enough to protect the American embassy, but not the embassy's next-door neighbor. So now you know about ISIS, and knowledge is power. But also so is a massive arsenal, $425 million, control of oil reserves, and a terrifying ambition to take over the Middle East. But hey, at least you got knowledge.
Horrible news is so much more palatable when it's delivered with a British accent.
You're going to die, Tom.
Oh, I hope it's soon. Finally this week, for a second time, the government failed to pass a bill through the Senate to shut down the Clean Energy Finance Corporation. And that gives Tony Abbott a double dissolution trigger. But like some sort of sensible politician who's read the polls, he probably won't use it. That didn't stop Labor and the Greens, though, demanding another election. Like teenagers who constantly bitch to their parents that they have no power. All the authority of a politician, all the emotional maturity of a high school student.
Previously on Parliament High.
And we raised enough money to keep the Clean Energy Club going for another year.
Hey, losers. Guess which mad dude just got voted school captain? I beat yous. And if you want it back, you can fight me for it. Anytime, any place.
Oi, rack off, Tony.
We leave school at the end of this year, so let's shut down the Clean Energy Club and spend all that money on some sweet model fighter jets for the cadets.
You're barking mad.
Yeah, I'd be a heaps better school captain than you.
No, you wouldn't.
If you think you're so good, let's call another election.
Why don't you bring it on?
Yeah, bring it on.
Fight! Fight! Fight!
Okay,
Fight!
I'll bring it on.
Fight!
When and where?
How about right now?
Nah, I can't do it.
Why? Scared you'll lose?
No, stop repeating me.
No, stop repeating me!
Fight!
You're not saying anything, Tony?
I got my eye on you, electricity bill.
Don't you call me that again, you dero!
Does this mean we're going out?
I heard that next term in Parliament High, a rich kid from Queensland starts a gang with a football jock, a girl with an M60, and that weird quiet guy who's the only one with a car. Also Dio Wang. Good night.